Hello, I'm Kirk McKendry, Red Eyes Office LLC. I want to talk briefly about the night shooting system that they offer for sale on their website. It's the aluminum construction. It's adjustable from 17 to 37 inches. It does collapse to be quite small for carry. Has an insulated grip for cold weather usage. So you're going to be on aluminum. You don't want the metal to contract the cold to your hand. So definitely the insulated grip's a nice added feature to keep your hand warm in those cold hunts that you're going to maybe go on. When I first get it, what I like to do is I want to tighten down my rest, and there's a lock washer on the bottom. So you want to make sure you align your gun rest up with the extension in conjunction with your light. So everything's going to flow through your rest in an alignment. So what I'll do is I'll tighten it up, and I got it where the lock washer will actually help me secure it and put it in place tightly. Okay. Now that I'm tight, I want to walk through a little bit just briefly on how I actually would use this in a setup and some of the tips I would offer to you on to be more successful with the night shooting system. So I got into my stand. I put a chair behind me here. I'm going to go ahead and sit down to show a little bit about how I walk through a stand. The first thing I like to do is adjust my shooting system height. Obviously it's way too tall for me right now. So I'm going to already start making adjustments to get me close while my area is calming down. Once I do that and I get very close, the tip I'm going to give you here is go higher than you need. It's better to go higher than lower because gravity's going to work for you if you go higher than lower. So I'm already still too high. I'm close, but I'm still too high. It won't be until I get my rifle on here that I actually see how high I'm going to be. So again, for my terrain, I'm still too high, but I'm close. The tip I'm going to give is grab the clamp and put your fingers down below it and take the weight off your rifle some so that you can just let gravity, let your rifle and your system to slowly go down to where you feel you need to be. Once you feel you need to be at the right height, I just simply take a little bit of weight off the rifle, close the clamp again, and then it's locked down. Now I've adjusted my height, and like I said, these are little things you can do while your area is calming down upon you walking into your stand. And now I can check it again, and yes, I'm where I need to be on this particular stand. And again, go a little higher and just lower it down. It will ease right into place if you just let your fingers drag on it, so you don't let it go slamming into the slamming to the ground. Because again, gravity's going to bring it down for you. It doesn't take any effort. The weight of your gun's just going to lower it down, make your adjustments. Now you're ready to go. You've adjusted your height. When you choose your location for your stand, you want to make sure you're not on a slippery surface such as ice. Obviously, a monopod's not the best thing, to be on ice. You want to make sure your ground is going to be firm. I'm on grass, dirt. I rarely run into a problem with slippage, but it's something that's common sense. But I feel it's need to be said that you want to make sure that the ground that you put the shooting system on is going to be grippy. It's going to be not a detriment to your stand in a form of ice. Once I'm set up, and now let's say I'm calling, I don't like to scan with my shooting light. This is a shooting light. This is how I operate it. Some people want to, like pick up the gun and do that kind of deal or whatever they're doing. I actually scan with a headlight. So I don't have it on in this video, but I'll run a headlight, and when I'm calling, whether it be whether I'm hand calling or using a remote for a electronic call, I'm scanning. If you have a partner and they're running a light for you, that's also fine. Whatever your way of running your scanning light, that's individual preference. For me, I run my head back and forth like such, and when I pick up eyes, that's the job of my scanning light, is pick up the eyes. Once that's done, I'm satisfied with its performance. Now it's time for me to go to my shooting light. So what I'll do is, for just to paint a little picture for a scenario, this is my 11 o'clock position, and I have an incoming predator right now. I've scanned, okay, got eyes. What am I going to do next? So what I'm going to say is you're going to want to chase the light. And what I mean by that is you shouldn't turn your light on the animal and go to your scope at the same time. Reason being is because it's independent, you don't want to find yourself being off track and having trouble finding where you are in the scope. I find this to be prevalent with beginners, like someone who's just getting brand new, getting used to the system. So the advice I'm giving is chase the light, and it works very well, and it's very easy once you start doing it this way. What I'll do is I'll turn my light on, I'll get my light, my shooting light, onto my intended target. For this scenario, let's say it's a fox. So here comes that fox, and once I get the light with my own eyes in conjunction with the light, now I'm going to go to my rifle, because now all I got to do is go straight to that light. And when I go to that light, the animal's going to be there. Now it's working a lot easier for me. So light on the animals where I want it to be. I go straight into my gun. I find it. And now if I want to move, like say the animal's going to the left, or say he starts to cut over to more than my 12 o'clock, now it's really easy to be able to move collectively together with the gun and the light. And okay, let's say it stopped right there. Here I am. I'm good. Say it cuts back. I'm still in my scope. I still have my light trained properly, so I can just come back and get back wherever I need to be to effect a safe shot. And that's really the bare bones of it. I mean, once you have that light on it, it really becomes very simplistic to be able to track and maintain a good target acquisition on that target. So chase the light, make sure you're on firm ground. Like I said, I like to set my height, before I go and start the call. I don't want to have an animal come in and realize I didn't do the calculations right on my height, and next thing you know, I need to make adjustments. That's not what I want to do when I have an incoming predator. Another thing I want to say is with the scope mounted lights, when you go into your scope and you have a light mounted up here or on your gun, it's going to flow with the gun, so the hot spot of that light is going to go to that animal's eyes, and they can be quite bright. Some of the lights on the market nowadays, it can be real bright, and I've seen in the field where it's not always, but I've seen where it can work against you for getting hang-ups and getting them to maybe not want to come in, or I've even had them spook on me because the intensity was just too much. So with being independent from the scope light, I can actually now control what part of my light that I give them. So I like to give the bottom half of the halo of my shooting light. So same scenario, there's my eyes out there at 11 o'clock. I get the light on that animal, I'll actually tip my light slightly up into the air. And because I'm independent from the rifle, I have the availability to actually do that. Now what I'm going to do is I only give them that amount of light that I need to make a safe shot. Once I can get positive identification, I can make that shot safely and responsibly. Now I know I'm good, but I don't need to give them that hot spot. And I think that's another reason why I've hunted both ways, and I'm getting animals a lot closer this way because of my light management practices. One, I got the light further out, so I'm really hidden behind that light like my force field, versus the lighting systems that you might mount on your scopes or whatever. It's dumping a lot more light onto your movements, and I'm not going to get too deep into that because I have a video on the website that actually demonstrates that quite adequately, as a comparison with the scope mounted light versus the night shooting system. So I'm not going to get too deep into that in this video. I would invite you to check that out and see that on your own. But because I am actually managing my light so much more effectively, what I'm finding is I'm getting closer shots. Closer shots mean a much better hit to miss ratio. I don't have near as many misses, and I wouldn't think anybody would taking 30-yard shots as opposed to 200-yard shots. The closer the animal is going to get to you, the better your success is going to be. So that's another advantageous standpoint that I have with this system and why it works so well for me. And because it's also only on one leg, I hunt a lot of uneven ground. I could be up on hills. I can even be in thick cover where when I run shooting sticks, a lot of times in the daytime, I'm going to run shooting sticks in the daytime. And I'll find the legs getting caught up in the tangle that I'm in, the brush or whatever. This is really easy. It's really hard to get this thing stuck because you're only dealing with one point of contact. So I find that to also be really good, especially if I'm on a hill, so to speak, and you bipod shooters out there can relate, where you're on a steep hill and you got something come hard, to the right or to the left, and you go to get on it, and your gun's all, even with a swivel model bipod, you just can't get rid of all that cant, and you find yourself shooting sort of awkward off of one leg, or it's not. I'm not saying it can't be done. I've done it, but this eliminates that. You can always keep your weapon in an upright position. I don't care what level the ground is. I can always, even if I gotta twist it. Let's say I'm gonna point the gun this way so I can show you. Say I'm on a really steep hill and I even gotta get to the point where I'm like at. At no point is my gun sideways, like a bipod might make you do. I can literally, if I had to go that ridiculous, which I never can imagine I ever did, but if I even had to, I'm still straight up and down. I'm still making that shot with my crosshairs being vertical and not, allowing for an inaccurate shot. So that's about the tips I wanted to cover with the night shooting system. I do invite you to come check it out if it sounds like something that may work for you. And thanks for watching.